I'm Pauli. I'm a mom, a wife, a pelvic floor physical therapist, and founder of No Kegels University. I have helped thousands of women stop leaking, enjoy intimacy, and feel proud of their bodies, even after having kids. After years of listening to women wonder why no one talks about leaking, how they should properly recover after having a baby, and that pleasurable intimacy is possible, I started to get real frustrated because I believe that no mom or woman should struggle when there are answers. It became my mission to shed light on the lack of postpartum care and the lack of discussion on issues that relate to women and their health, even if they can be uncomfortable sometimes. It also became my mission to change the conversation on women's health, the pelvic floor, and more. Here we go. Episode 1, What to Expect. Welcome to the very first episode of Beyond the V. I'll be totally honest. Starting a podcast was never on my to-do list. In fact, I started a YouTube channel last year and worked on that for a little while until I needed some more time to further develop my online brand of courses. And when the idea of starting a podcast kept coming up and coming up and coming up, I really wondered, man, is this the universe's way of telling me to do this? There's no way. First, I am way too chatty. Second, I go off on tangents all the time. And third, keeping me on topic and for me to remember what it was that I was talking about just even 30 seconds ago, there's no way this would be a good idea. But the more I thought about it, the more I remembered back to the very beginning when I began my journey as a women's health physical therapist, or even a pelvic floor physical therapist, if you want to call me that. I call myself both things. And I remembered, and even now, when I have patients come see me, it's so common that these patients of mine will say things like, why is nobody talking about this? Why is it that it took me 7 years to finally get the help that I needed? Why didn't my doctor send me to somebody like you after my first baby, not my third? That's silly. And then I realized that was my answer. This podcast actually has nothing to do with me. And I can't even believe I'm getting emotional on the first one. But I share that with you because you are my reason for starting this podcast, because it is not uncommon for me to hear this at least 2 or 3 times a day, whether it's from patients or coaching clients or in my DMs or emails, that you don't feel like you are supported in your journey trying to figure out how your body functions or how it should function after you have a baby. And when you're leaking and all your friends or your family members seem to think that it's normal, you may not feel validated that you don't think it's normal. And for you that is struggling to enjoy intimacy because it's painful and it's never been enjoyable, I hear you, and you are not alone. This is why I started the podcast. In the following episodes, I wanted to give you an idea of what you can expect. So anything that pertains to women's health, the pelvic floor, and more, we will talk about here. And while I will do a lot of the talking because I have over 12 years of experience treating the pelvic floor, I want to bring up a lot of different topics that come up, but I also would like to bring on some guests, and we have some in the upcoming weeks, to talk more on the areas that I don't know that much about, that I'm not really an expert on. You know, things like managing your hormones naturally, or hearing from a personal trainer that works with women and their self-confidence and their body image. or maybe someone who is a birth worker and gets to help women deal with the trauma after having a baby. These are areas that I don't really know that much about, but I know the importance of them, and I want to make sure that I give you access to these professionals and their expertise in order to help you along on your journey. Another thing you can expect is that I am going to talk to you just like I talk to my friends. In fact, I even considered having some of my friends come on and have us recount past stories of when they've asked me questions, and maybe sometimes it got a little silly and we got a little giggly talking about their answers and talking about their questions and their experiences, pertaining to what the original question happened to be. But I want you to feel like through the microphone, through whatever you might be listening to me on, that I am your friend, that you can come here and that whatever it is, whatever questions you might have, that I will answer them, and I'll answer them just like I would with my close circle of friends. And the last thing that you can expect on this podcast is to have a couple of pieces of homework. And I don't want this homework to be something that scares you. I don't tell you that to scare you off, but I tell you that because that's something that I would want in a podcast. Oftentimes, well, I'll tell you this. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of them. And sometimes when I get done at the very end of the episode, there's so many good pieces in there, but I can't always remember what the actual takeaways were from the episode, like what I should be working on next or what I should have learned from it. And so I want you to easily know, okay, well, worst thing, I could fast forward to the very end of the episode because sometimes life might get in the way and you may not have time to listen to the whole thing. Totally fine. But I want to give you a couple of pieces of homework that you can do on your own, and they won't be time consuming. They might be an exercise to try. It might be look into this product. It might be talk to your doctor about this particular procedure or your options regarding this. Or it might be a little mini challenge. It might be, maybe something having to do with, motherhood or something of that nature. But just know this homework is optional. It's not like school. I'm not going to ask that you submit it or turn it in for grading or anything like that. It's just to help you on your journey to improve your health as a woman. And the last thing I will say is I will end each episode with a phrase. And the episode's not over yet, but the phrase is this: you're an heiress and a queen and everything in between. This is actually the same outro that I used in my YouTube videos, and I will include it right after the homework because I also want you to know how valuable you are and whether you relate to being a princess or a queen or an heiress. I really want you to remember your worth, because oftentimes in this season of feeling lost in motherhood and trying to figure out how our bodies are working or not working or what we can do, I don't want you to forget what your worth is. And saying that you're a queen or you're an heiress or something of royal nature in there, I just want you to have that reminder each time that you get done with this episode, especially as you start to go implement one of those pieces of homework. So the homework is this: I want you to leave a review. I want you to subscribe, and I want you to share this with at least 2 friends. That's your homework. Pretty easy, right? I can't wait to go on this podcast journey with you, and I'll even thank you in advance for listening to this one and the ones to come. And remember, you're an heiress and a queen and everything in between. If you enjoyed this episode or even wondered if I can help you, check the show notes for more details. And to see what else I'm up to, follow me on the socials at Beyond the V, by Pauli. Because I'm changing the conversation on women's health, the pelvic floor, and more, I still need your help. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend or two. See you next week.